come start with your social network, but then as other people participate, it spreads to their social network, so it gets to larger and larger communities. We plan to offer some options to make things private, but right now it's very public. If you want to do a quick follow-up, but.
While right now you have truly amazing people there, if you see everybody, doesn't that grow a little bit? Sort of
yeah, so that's one of the exciting things about vaguely social networky things, right? Public sites are very forum-like, and they don't scale because what happens is everyone goes there and the quality goes down. On your Facebook, right, yeah, there's a little bit of noise, but what happens is over time, the system gets good at knowing, hey, here are the people I know, and so things go out based on those trust networks and based on expertise, and your Facebook feels very different from someone else's Facebook because we know very different people. And next question, I'll take someone from this side of the room first. Anyone? Okay, you got it.
You mentioned that you basically said something like you would put it out on Facebook, but we didn't have time. It might be his question, but is it basically where that will allow anyone on Facebook or on my Twitter or on my LinkedIn to see?
So if you cross-post, not your stream, but that conversation. So you can post a conversation out or an opportunity out so people can apply. Currently, it's a closed site, so they can't actually come, but they can't see that stream today. They can see opportunities today. When we open it up more, you'll be able to make public conversations that you could post to Twitter and say, hey, jump into this conversation. I think this is relevant, because Twitter is a good place to talk about stuff, but not so much for conversations. We're trying to do something very different for them. Next up.
So say I'm someone new, I just joined the site, I don't really know anyone here. How do I get opportunity strategy? How do I really do it?
So there are two aspects to that. So first, yes, how do people get things when they're new? So we have you connect, so you can do Facebook Connect or Twitter OAuth, and we can find the people you know based on, so we can look at your existing social graph on other sites and find people you know, and then you can follow them on the site. The second thing we're about to introduce are following of expertise. So you can say, hey, I'm an expert at this topic, I want to see what's going on around this topic, and you'll start to see things from top experts in those areas. So revenue, really good question. So first thing I wanted to say is, we're in the early days, and my background, I was running part of Fox Audience Network, so running monetization for a big company. And so people kind of laugh when we say, hey, we don't plan to monetize it quite yet. We're really focused on building the community, building the quality of the site, the product, and particularly building a community with the people here. But to give you a peek at where we're going in the long run, there are two sides of it. First thing is around opportunities themselves. We want to let people attach bounties, not to most opportunities, but to certain ones. For example, whenever I talk to friends with a bunch of venture capitalists, and whenever you talk to them, they always have a bunch of portfolio companies, and every portfolio company is looking for a CFO. And you ask them, what would you pay a recruiter for that CFO? And they say, $30,000, pretty typical. And we say, hey, would you attach a $10,000 bounty to someone who could find you the right CFO? And they'll attach that. The other piece is to look at something that's a more traditional business network like LinkedIn. So if you look at a LinkedIn, their revenue is about a third from three pieces. A third subscription tools. So we do plan to offer some fancier services that aren't in here yet, that are subscription-based, and entice people to do that. Then the next piece is they offer some very fancy tools. In LinkedIn's case, we're doing something very different from them. They sell tools for recruiters that are around $5,000 a month. Per company using it. Then they do advertising. So they do premium brand advertising, and that's about a third. So I imagine that piece, we would have a very different revenue mix, but just to give you a sense of what people do. Plan to have a similar mix.
Just a quick question. I know this is beta, so maybe the interface isn't exactly how you want it to be. I'm just seeing as it is now, that seems very much like Twitter. You have followers and whatnot. Does that create some sort of maybe legal exposure for you guys?
Yeah, so we do have a stream, and Twitter wasn't the first stream. And when you actually see it, it's hard to tell up here. It actually feels very different because everything's about the conversation. So the feel, we're friends with the Twitter guys, and it has a very different feel. So I was going to say, it's basically very different. There's also a whole bunch of stuff around legality in the tech world, and there's basically no issue there. So happy to talk offline if you want all sorts of detail. I don't know how much time we have, if there are other questions. Perfect. Thank you so much, and please find us, and we'll look you up. Yeah.